on Guam. KUAM News headlines are presented by Calvo's Insurance, protecting Micronesia for 85 years. Matson, celebrating 25 years of commitment to Guam, Micronesia, and the CNMI. Cars Plus, Guam's leader in sustainability and electric vehicles. Learn more at carsplusguam.com. McDonald's of Guam, I'm loving it. And King's Restaurant, serving your local breakfast, lunch, and dinner favorites for over 45 years.
Ahead on KUAM News Primetime. A second arrest in connection to the killing of Army veteran Jason Susuiko. Investigators searching for two others believed to have been involved.
Missing for more than a week, the family of a 22-year-old Malolo woman is turning to the community in hopes to get their loved one home safe. I'm Matsuki Hariyama with the report.
And students from the home of the Sharks will start the school year at another campus. We get reaction from Simon Sanchez community.
Half a day and good evening. Welcome to KUAM News Primetime. I'm Nick Delgado.
And I'm Destiny Cruz. Thank you so much for starting your week here with us. A second suspect now stands accused in the brutal killing of Army veteran Jason Susuiko. 33-year-old Jordan Michael Babauta is charged with aggravated murder and guilt by complicity. Babauta was charged just days after defendant Cynthia Rose Kanata was arrested for her alleged involvement in Susuiko's death. A police source telling investigators they heard Babauta allegedly talking about the murder with an unnamed suspect, detailing how they beat him to death and left his body off Route 15 in Jigo. Tonight, some in Pagat, Manila are left stunned as authorities are searching for two more involved in the killing. Both remain on the run. This is the Pagat, Manila home where Army veteran Jason Susuiko took his final breath. The windows today are shuttered. There's furniture and other items left dumped outside on the property. But a quick glance, you would have never known of the gruesome killing that unfolded here at the beginning of the year.
It's scary.
KUAM speaking with multiple people living along Route 15 today in shock to learn that a murder happened so close to home.
I lived here for over 10 and a half years with this is actually my in-law's place.
And you're just steps away after finding out what happened so close to home. What's running through your mind?
Man, something this tragic can happen just right next to you and you wouldn't even know. You know, it's crazy out here these days.
Several of them speaking with us off camera for their safety. The crime scene also neighbors the popular golf course in the village.
This is a family place and, you know, normally normal things just happen here and not as, I noticed. My sister-in-law got robbed a couple months ago. And even at having the gated wall here, you know, just that would rattle you and keep you concerned of what's really happening these days.
As we reported, Susuiko's body found badly decomposed in the jungle area off Route 15 in Jigo back in January, about 4 miles up the street from where the alleged killing occurred. It was through police sources that investigators have now been able to pinpoint two suspects. Defendants Jason Babauta and Cynthia Kanata, both facing charges of aggravated murder and guilt by complicity in the Superior Court of KUAM. Kanata allegedly lured Susuiko to the home to use meth when the attack occurred, police learning it was over a drug deal gone wrong. So you said that this is usually a quiet neighborhood? Like, mostly families, right?
Yeah. Friendly.
And now hearing that right next door across from the main road, or have you seen those people, Cynthia?
Yeah, we saw them, but we don't really, you know, we don't talk to them.
Police sources alleging there were two others involved in beating Susuiko to death before using a car to dump his body. Criminal detectives are not releasing any information about the two unnamed suspects. As of Monday afternoon, both unknown suspects remain at large. Meantime, neighbors recall hearing people arguing at the home daily. Other neighbors have told me that they see a lot of police activity at that house.
Yeah, a lot sometimes. No, actually, most of the time.
Most of the time?
Yeah.
A lot of cops
there. Yeah, we just see it, but, you know, we don't stop by or look at them.
This stretch of road is the same area a pregnant woman was randomly shot at back in 2019 while on her way home from work. The mother survived the incident. For now, residents today are left having to watch out for one another, adding there's still a need for greater police presence.
Well, we don't like that kind of people. You know, we are quite on our street, but we don't want anybody like that who's going to be with us or next to us. We don't like that.
We just gotta all look out for each other, man, and just keep our ears more open often and get together with the neighbors also, and and like a neighborhood watch thing. We don't usually have one here, but it never used to be like that here.
While authorities have yet to arrest the two remaining suspects believed to be on the run, both Babauta and Kanata remain held at the Department of Corrections. Prison records show Babauta has multiple criminal cases against him that goes back to 2012. Just this past February, he was arrested for aggravated assault in an alleged carjacking.
While many in the community were celebrating the 4th of July, one family left searching for any signs of their missing loved one. That search continues for 22-year-old Malolo resident Archie Kathleen Maripui, who's been missing for a week.
Now family members coming forth sharing frustrations with the local police, questioning why a search party still hasn't been mobilized. Mitsuki Hirayama has more.
It's been a week since 22-year-old Archenin Kathleen Marupui disappeared from Malolo. Her stepmother, Jusita Tio, telling KUAM her daughter left the residence at Papaya Lane on foot early morning last Monday after an argument.
She started asking us for her key to the car, so the dad don't want to, give it to her because she's drunk and we don't want her to drive because if anything happened to her on the road.
That's when she walked off, leaving the residence, her belongings, and her car.
That's the first time that she walked out of here.
And she didn't take her car?
No.
None of her belongings?
Everything that she has is here. She didn't take nothing.
The family searching for their loved one but unable to find her. That's when they reported her missing to the Guam Police Department the next day and requested a search party.
All he said is, that's a good idea, but it's going to take a while. It's going to take a while because they're going to have to call out the military and maybe some of the family to, come together and just spread out to look around for Archie.
But still, a week later, Tio says no search party has been mobilized, leaving her to reach out to her neighbors for help.
They reviewed their camera and then they called me up and they said that, around 3:15, I guess that's the time she got up from the bus stop, started walking out towards the main road.
One security camera able to place her at a bus stop in Malolo Wells Drive on Monday around 3 a.m. It's further down the road where they were hoping the 76 gas station could lead to further clues. But employees telling KUAM that so far officers have not come by requesting to review that footage. It's a concern leaving this family frustrated.
I'm just tired of repeating myself, and it seems like they're not trying to help us. They're not saying anything what they're going to try to do. Nothing. So that's why we just try our best to look around.
And leaving them to put up missing posters on storefronts around the island in hopes someone has seen their loved one.
Right now it's like we don't even know what to do anymore. We just want to know if she's still alive, she's okay, or she's dead. We want to find a body and take it. That's what we want.
Matsuki Hirayama, KUAM News.
Now, family members say Archie, as many call her, has also not shown up for work since she went missing. If you have seen the 22-year-old, the family asked to call them at 671-788-0225.
She is described as 5'7" at about 195 pounds. She was last seen wearing a black shirt and camouflage sweatpants. GPD also asking anyone with any information to contact police dispatch at 671-475-8615, 8616, or 8617. A couple of legislative oversight chairs have released responses to the indictments handed down against 7 Government of Guam officials.
Among those indicted is Public Health Director Art Sanagustin and Chief Health Inspector Tom Nadeau, allegedly questioned over questionable inspection reports at the schools. And separately, the Guam Regional Transit Authority's former interim executive manager Richard Ibanez and former GRTA certifying officer Jennifer Cruz, along with 3 GRTA board members who are facing several charges, including theft by deception. Education and Public Safety Oversight Chair Senator Chris Barnett saying it may not be Lou and Josh who have to show up to court, but this is an indictment of Adelupe's failure to deliver basic services and set standards to our island. The Leon Guerrero Tenorio administration, he adds, has no problem bringing in political hires and giving out raises, but the lieutenant governor's promises to address crucial and much needed staff shortages in areas that really matter, like public health and public safety, have fallen far short of what other people deserve. Barnett adding, I questioned why our schools were given sanitary permits that aren't worth the paper they're written on. The Leon Guerrero Tenorio administration never explained how or why they allowed this to happen, he says, and now they'll have to answer for it in court.
Senator William Parkinson, Oversight Chair on Public Transit, tells KUAM, I want to get a qualified executive manager to run GRTA as soon as possible. GRTA executive managers are not confirmed by the legislature. They don't have to go through confirmation hearing according to current law. And I think that leads to issues like this. The GRTA executive manager should be confirmed by the legislature and face the scrutiny of confirmation to ensure that the candidate is qualified and the process is transparent. Adelupe has said the indictments are only accusations and do not constitute actual proof of wrongdoing.
The CNMI Attorney General's office, through Chief Solicitor Robert Glass, filed a motion requesting a deposition of former Governor Ralph Torres related to his procurement of attorneys and government contracts. The lawsuit is separate from the criminal charges filed by the AG against Torres for misconduct in public office. This case, filed by Torres' team, was against the Secretary of Finance and the AG regarding the special prosecutor's contract in the criminal case. The former governor's attorneys argue the contract is invalid because it does not follow procurement regulations.
However, Glass accuses Torres of following the same process. In the motion for disposition, the AG's office wrote that it believes that Mr. Torres does not come before this court with clean hands and believes the deposition is required in order to fully ascertain the facts and circumstances of Mr. Torres' procurement of attorneys while governor. Glass requested to depose Torres for no more than 8 hours. The AG also filed a motion to dismiss the case, which they believe improperly includes them. The AG also argues that Torres failed to exhaust his administrative remedies and the case is not ripe for judicial decision.
Back here in Guam, Simon Sanchez High students will head into the new school year, but sharing a campus over at the home of the Islanders.
That's right. We already told you how Sanchez students won't be returning to the GIGO campus after it suffered damage from the storm. Tonight, we find out what some in the community think about the idea for them to share a school.
New year, new campus, but it won't be at the home of the Sharks. The plan is still being worked on, but it will include sending Simon Sanchez High School students to John F. Kennedy's Upper Tumon campus to double session come August 9th. Guam Department of Education officials aware that the conditions at the GIGO school has gotten worse following the storm, citing mold as a significant hazard. But despite the community agreeing with not exposing the teens to unsafe conditions, talks of the relocation now bringing up concerns about a sense of place and stability.
She's going to be a freshman this year, so hopefully everything goes well.
GIGO resident and graduate of Simon Sanchez himself, John Slander, says he just wants his niece to have a safe and permanent campus of her own to learn and take pride in.
As far as that, I'm pretty sure she would like to go to school, permanently. To represent, that shark.
But his hope for that type of stability is currently just wishful thinking. Education Committee Chairperson Senator Chris Barnett in an oversight hearing saying he doesn't think students will probably ever go back to that GIGO campus. This as the poor conditions at the GIGO school have been long-standing. Both Slander and former Simon Sanchez parent Jack Stodgdale recalling the experience they had at the GIGO campus years ago.
It was pretty rough, but it's a lot rougher now.
At that time, the conditions were degrading.
And with worse off facilities, the Sharks have no other option than a double session with the home of the Islanders.
I'm actually mixed emotional about it. If the teachers have to do double sessions, it's hard. It's kind of rough for them. It really is. usually they're the ones that pay the price a lot of times for education now. I think it's a plus for the students if they're able to equalize, the desires to go in the afternoon or in the morning.
And the Islanders are left no other choice than to share their school. GDOE spokesperson Michelle Franquez tells KUAM the plan to have Sanchez double session at JFK High is set with more specifics expected to be announced next week.
A total of 6 people, including one with serious injuries, were transported to both Guam Regional Medical City and Guam Memorial Hospital after a 3-car accident in Dandan.
Yeah, you can take a look at police on scene there today. According to Guam Fire Department spokesperson Lieutenant Nick Garrido, it was on Sunday night around 10:45 p.m. Units responded to the accident in front of the Fern Terrace area on Route 3 in Dandan. An investigation now underway to determine the cause of the accident and whether speed, drugs, or alcohol might have been factors in the crash. At the Guam Congress building today, a measure that would make destruction of public properties during an emergency a felony.
Bill 132 comes after there were reports of people tampering with the Guam Power and Guam Waterworks facilities after Typhoon Mawar hit our island. The Attorney General's Chief Prosecutor Heather Zona testified in support of the measure.
The island is still recovering from Typhoon Mawar, which left our island without power or water for an extended period of time. The island is still recovering from the devastation of the typhoon. During public emergencies, the island is called upon to band together and to respond in order to preserve human life. This is our highest priority. So law enforcement and first responders are stretched particularly thin during these times. They take their duties seriously, but we cannot ignore that the tasks they are assigned to do are substantial. Government property is property that benefits the entire community, whether it is a police or fire department vehicle that responds to those in distress, medical supplies, electrical wires, structures in a park designed for the community's enjoyment, or even historical monuments dedicated to commemorate Guam's unique history. Destruction of government property during times of crisis is particularly despicable because that destruction harms our community. The public is denied the benefit of those items, and law enforcement is required to devote resources to address those crimes.
This bill was introduced after I received news that GWA's water well facilities were vandalized shortly after Typhoon Mawar passed through Guam. I then spoke with John Beneventi, General Manager of GPA, who said that a total of 5 water tanks were damaged due to vandalization. These were essential tanks that were providing people with potable water after the typhoon when many people still did not have access to running water. I want to be clear, behavior like this during times when our island is recovering from great disaster is criminal behavior.
I support the intent, but I'm not, we're going to be putting more people into prison for these things when they should just be doing right by the people and stop delaying further progress for our island. We obviously are dealing with a disaster, and these people are disasters themselves. It's quite idiotic that we have to implement legislation to deter this kind of situation.
I have no objections to the bill. I think it's unfortunate we have to send out a message like this. It's another reminder we're almost the land of the lawless because we have our own people, our own residents, that are unfortunately committing these crimes against their own neighbors. And that's not desirable, especially when there's such a need after a storm to recover and try to get back to as much normalcy as we possibly can in our community. It's just unfortunate. There was a time when we were here when we knew that if it wasn't yours, you don't touch it, or if you need it and it's something you really need, you ask permission, and if someone can provide it to you, they will assist you.
Guam Homeland Security Advisor Esther Agagi did not attend the hearing but submitted testimony stating that her office does not take a position on this proposed bill.
Agagi stating, though, in her written testimony that to date, no executive departments or agencies, including the Guam Homeland Office of Civil Defense, have reported intentional vandalism or destruction of their properties that may adversely impact operations and recovery.
Now to your eye on recovery, the Joint Information Center announcing the Disaster Recovery Center at CL Taitino Elementary in Sinahaña will permanently close this Friday at 5 p.m. Disaster assistance is being offered through July 27th. You can also check out the locations set up at the Guam Community College in Manilao and Juan M. Guerrero Elementary in Dededo. Residents can also still apply at disasterassistance.gov or by calling the FEMA helpline at 800-621-3362.
FEMA also looking for property management companies and owners who have furnished properties that are ready to be leased. Officials saying these properties can include various types such as vacation rentals, corporate apartments, second homes, single-family homes, cooperatives, condominiums, townhomes, and other type of readily fabricated dwellings. To help interested parties to register on their system for award management and to better understand FEMA's direct lease, multi-family lease and repair programs, FEMA is hosting an Industry Day event on Friday, July 11th from 9:30 in the morning to 10:30 in the morning at the KUAM Museum in Hagåtña. We have the link to get you registered for Industry Day. Just go to KUAM.com. Still to come on Prime Time, could we see a closed primary election? That's what the Election Commission is mulling over.
Plus, our Tomas Minglotnia checks out some familiar flavors at a local store on Saipan. That and more when your news leader returns.
But first, there's another way to watch your local news and catch up on all other shows on Peacock.
Just visit peacocktv.com/local and get you going and subscribed.
Watch KUAM TV 8 live on Peacock. Check out our live channel, NBC shows, live sports original programming, movies, plus so much more. Visit peacocktv.com/local or download the app and subscribe today.
Guam is truly a majestic place with its sheer natural beauty, wealth of beaches, and culturally rich landscape. Unfortunately, Guam has a real problem with unwanted invasive species. Help us in preventing their introduction and spread. The coconut rhinoceros beetle, the little fire ant, the African snail, Siam weed. These are just a few of the numerous invasives on Guam. Follow proper custom procedures when bringing plants and animals into Guam.
Help protect Guam. Tell your family and friends about invasive species.
To report invasive species, call 475-PEST.
Only Pizza Hut lets you surround your favorite pizza with greatness. The one and only stuffed crust pizza tempts your taste buds with melted cheese stuffed inside that amazing crust. And at just $18.99 with one topping, the stuffed crust pizza is truly irresistible. So grab your slice of pizza perfection with cheesy goodness baked right into the crust. The stuffed crust pizza, just $18.99 with one topping. Only at Pizza Hut, the island's best.
I'm checking my vital signs, drawing my battle lines, going to war again. Feeling the rhythm inside of my chest, all I need is just a pen. I know I was born for this. I know I was born for this. I believe we can write our story. I believe we can be an army. We are the warriors who learn to love the pain. We come from different places, but have the same name. Cause we were born for this. We were born for this. We are the broken ones who chose to spark a flame. Watch as our fire rages, our hearts are never tame. Cause we were born for this. We were born for this.
What you need to know from the Northern Marianas. Follow KUAM CNMI on Instagram for the latest regional headlines.
Welcome back to Primetime. The Guam Election Commission is preparing for the potential of closed primaries run by the parties themselves.
While the next scheduled election is still more than a year away, the possibility was discussed during a recent GEC board meeting. Nestor Lecanto has more.
The issue of a closed primary surfaced during last year's campaign. The Democratic Party, through its Central Executive Committee, voted to restrict eligible candidates to registered Democrats. They cited a 2004 ruling by presiding Superior Court Judge Alberto Lamarena that upheld the right to a closed primary. But by that time in May, the GEC said it was too late to implement, and ultimately the Democrats withdrew. Now, Party Executive Director Shirok Bujwani is seeking renewed guidance from the GEC. But Board Vice Chair Alice Tyrone clarified that first, the party must include in its bylaws specifically how it will conduct a closed primary.
We can't move promulgating rules and regulations if we don't have from any party how it is that they want to conduct their primaries.
And even if the party conducts its own primary, GEC legal counsel Vince Camacho says the Election Commission will still have to certify the results.
Once we get the information or the updated bylaws, someone within this commission, whether it's the staff or the commissioners themselves, will have to make sure that however they document they're going to conduct their election is conducted in that way so that whatever results come out are valid based upon the way they said they're going to conduct their elections.
With the next scheduled election still more than a year away, the GEC does have the time now to dot the I's and cross the T's.
Otherwise, we're going to be in a situation where you could have an ad hoc letter from a member of a party that says we want it closed, and maybe, so there has to be some kind of formality within the party that gets transmitted to the Guam Election Commission so that the Guam Election Commission can determine whether that closed primary according to their rules and regulations conform.
Nestor Lecanto, KUAM News.
Thanks, Nes. Well, it's been 7 long years since Meta Sarmiento has been on Guam. Now the Filipino rapper, poet, speaker, and educator is back home.
It is all part of the homecoming tour made possible of Humanity's Guahan. Jonah Gonçalves catches up with him as he gets ready to perform for the very people who helped shape his craft.
I almost died in a typhoon once, and I was only 7 years old.
It was back in 2015 when Meta Sarmiento won a competition called Spoken Art for the World, and it afforded him the opportunity to perform in Paris, France, at a UN climate negotiations event. In that moment, that was so impactful, Sarmiento realized just how big the world was in terms of artistry.
I needed to grow. And I knew that if I stayed on island, I wouldn't grow because I was comfortable. Everything was cush here. And so that's when I decided, I need to step out of my comfort zone. I need to experience new things, both personally and professionally. And so I made the decision to jump to Denver, Colorado in 2016.
He believes it was the best decision he's made as an artist.
Raise your hand if you're familiar with the island of Guam. Well, that's a lot more people than I expected. Yeah. I've been able to grow exponentially in just the last 7 years in comparison to the entire time I've been on island. I feel like I've changed so much as a person and as an artist, and I definitely don't regret leaving.
Imagination is a double-edged sword. You see what's possible and then you want some more.
Over the course of 7 years, the former Deredo and Jigo resident has made a formidable name for himself and continues to hone his craft, from music videos, spoken word poetry, to speaking in front of huge audiences for its TED Talk.
I just wanted to tell stories and to do it in as many mediums as possible. And while I was, of course, in Denver, I always kept a pulse on the island because this is home. This is the place that raised me. All that I am is because of here. And so I decided that as part of my work as an artist, I wanted to remain a bridge, right? Expand my own horizons, but still stay connected to the people and the places that I love so much.
And now with the support of Humanity's Guahan, he's back, ready to share what he's been up to. According to him, he's the sharpest he's ever been.
Humanity's Guahan's doing a really good job running this series where they're engaging the community, trying to raise their critical consciousness around these really important issues and topics on island, like cultural identity and equity and climate change and the hyper-militarization of the region. We're going to be using my work as an anchor point to launch into deep conversations about some of these issues. And so to be able to do it in a way that's not intimidating and not didactic and trying to lecture people, but through storytelling and conversation. That's so Islander, right? Like, that's what we do. We sit around and we talk stories.
On Tuesday, July 11th, you can enjoy an evening with Meta at 6 p.m. at the Hyatt Regency Grand Ballroom. And on Thursday, July 13th, you can catch a public performance by Meta at 7 p.m. at the University of Guam Fine Arts Theater. And if you're on the fence whether to attend any of the events, he has this to say.
Engaging with these really important topics is hard to do in a really fun, creative, and meaningful way. And Humanities Guahan, my performances and our community conversations is going to do it in that way. If you got time and you got energy, you should definitely come.
As for any advice he would like to offer other creatives,
for the next generation coming up, chasing the arts, chasing voice and purpose, I think it's really important to keep going because it takes a really long time to really figure out what you want to articulate and what you want to say. And if you give up now, you're never going to get there. So keep at it, stay patient, and have fun with it, I think is the most important thing.
Hold me down or hold me back.
Jonagan Charfris, KUAM News.
And you can still get your tickets for both of the events. You can find the Eventbrite link on our website, KUAM.com, or by following the Humanities Guahan page on Instagram. Ben Key's store on Saipan is one of the few locally owned and operated stores in the CNMI.
They reopened their doors in 2022 after closing in 1996. Regional correspondent Tomas Manglotny reports from the checkout line with some familiar flavors.
The store was originally opened in the 90s by my parents. Ben is my dad, the late Captain Ben Conception, and Key is my mom. And so the two of them opened the store in the 90s. Just some backstory. I remember I hated watching the store as a child because I couldn't go out with friends. You know, I couldn't do any of that because I was obligated, real life obligated to watch the store. Now, you know, I'm a grandmother and I choose to watch the store.
It's a full circle moment for Marian Concepcion Terreguezo after working for the government for more than 2 decades. Now she's devoting all of her time to one of the island's only 100% locally owned and operated stores.
It's very much family business. The kids come and help. My daughter does the asiga mixes that are very popular. We have a certified kitchen in the back, so she does all of that. She also started to distribute it to other stores. My son handles the fish market. The boat belongs to him, and the fish market belongs to him. He goes fishing. He also started to slowly incorporate his piggery into the store.
She describes Ben Key and Dandan as your local store. It reopened in 2022, years after it closed down in 1996. It's a different time, but still sits in the same location with the same signature local flavors.
Every day we have our, which is gaining a lot of popularity, our sardine empanadas and our corned beef empanadas. You know, we have donuts, we have lunch plates, we have fresh sashimi depending on the time that the fish comes in, fresh fish all the time. Soft serve ice cream is here too, although that's not local, but it's the only one on this side of the island.
The store is open from 6:30 in the morning to 9 p.m. and they're always inviting other locals to share and sell their products too.
Our Ben Key motto is locals helping locals.
Tomas Manglotny, KUAM News, Saipan.
Thanks, Tomas. Well, the Guam Regional Medical City celebrating its 8-year anniversary.
These are just some of the healthcare heroes that have been hard at work during a pandemic and more. Tonight, we honor them as they now reach this milestone.
Giving island residents options for their healthcare. The Guam Regional Medical City celebrating 8 years after opening its doors in mid-2014. That's the reality for these 3 GRMC employees, who are among the first aboard the private hospital's inception. Operating room in charge registered nurse Lester Whitley, biomedical engineer Juan Beneventi, and human resources manager Crystal Vasquez. The trio sharing their gratitude for being able to serve the island community.
If you look at my number, my official number is 0034. So that says I'm the 34th person that was hired here in this hospital. Wow. And I'm still here. And like I tell myself, I said, I'll be here from the beginning and I'll be here till it shuts down or until I can't do it anymore.
Whitley sharing with us that he's honored to be a sense of comfort for his patients, keeping them calm before they undergo any procedure.
I work for them. And I tell them that. I say, you know, if you're not here today, I have no job. I say, so I work for you. So you tell me whatever you want me to do and I'm going to do it for you. If I can fix it, I'm going to fix it. If I can't, we'll get somebody that can.
An attitude of service that Whitley shares with fellow co-worker Juan Beneventi.
I'm probably one of the handful that's been here since construction. So I was here during the construction of Guam Regional Medical City. From the construction, then from purchasing of all the medical equipment, and putting it together. Throughout my whole career as a biomedical engineer, I never had an opportunity to start up a new hospital. So this was an opportunity for me to give back to the island, as the island has actually given a lot to me.
GRMC also allowing these healthcare employees to share their skill sets.
I joined GRMC in 2015, so I was one of the first. I've always been with the Human Resources Department and team, and actually for me, GRMC was the first organization to really give me a shot to become an HR practitioner.
With 8 years down, this trio, alongside the rest of the GRMC staff, say they are dedicated to always giving their best.
We provide good care just like GMH does. Where we should be, the two organizations healthcare organizations shouldn't be competing, they should be working together to make healthcare better for the entire island.
It brings a little bit of tears to my eyes because you walk down the hallway and you just see everyone's energy and just love for each other.
Awesome. Congratulations on 8 years. Awesome. And now to a huge moment for many members in our island community, celebrating a big milestone this year in a very big way.
Yeah, the All-Island class of 1968 is joining in a few weeks to commemorate their 55th reunion. And they've got plans to bring back a very important time in their lives in what was a very significant time in Guam history. Our Jason Salas is speaking with some of the very excited coordinators.
So 1968. Carl and ladies, was such an interesting. I had to look this up. The #1 song in 1968 was "Hey Jude" by the Beatles. The #1 movie was 2001: A Space Odyssey, a personal favorite. But maybe talk about, and Thelma, I'd like to start with you. Talk about what it was like to go to school on Guam in that time. I mean, it was a very, very turbulent time. That was the year also that Martin Luther King was assassinated, that Robert F. Kennedy was assassinated. So, what was the time period being a high school senior?
I remember the military trucks going down Marine Drive, transporting the bombers to Anderson. The military presence, and then having friends and relatives who were signing up for Vietnam, some losing their lives during that part. That was in our consciousness. I remember classmates throwing parties, family parties to thank and to invite the military, those who were in the military. Their presence in Guam was pretty obvious to some of us. And
can we talk about this all-island? So if you are a member of the class of 68, all are welcome. But we really want to let people know about it so that they can spread the word around and do make plans for being there on the celebration on August 26th. Right?
Well, all are welcome, and we're welcoming other people as well. The typhoon really took a toll on us, and so we welcome the opportunity to actually also have others join us. I've got a friend that just came in from DC, so I invited her to be one of my guests, and so I'm just focusing on folks coming that may not have experienced a Guam reunion or even a Guam get together. I want to get back to Marilys's input on seniors. A lot of us are putting up the flyer on our Facebook page so that you can contact us through that or WhatsApp. I have my own personal information, 671-482-0021. You can certainly contact me. So
I can get my number, 61988-9090. And by the way, the Radiants are playing for us.
Yes.
Ooh.
Providing the dance music.
Very nice. Okay.
And we have some small numbers that we're preparing as a group to do during that evening.
People don't need the Spotify playlist these days. Just give your request to the Radiants, and they'll take care of you.
That's true.
Okay, so Thelma and Marylys and Carl, thank you so much for sharing this with us. And again, congratulations on this. Okay, good. Before we go, and I mean, everybody can wave goodbye. Let's do like a peace sign. 1968.
All right.
Peace.
Awesome. So now for a look at your world at home.
Here's a view capture of the Country Club of the Pacific Golf Course in Zotnia.
A view plus more tomorrow music streaming on Isla Digital Radio.
New chicken nuggets from KFC? Everybody's gonna want these. Let's eat these inside.
Try new Kentucky Fried Chicken Nuggets. You've never had nuggets like these.
Honey, do you want some milk?
Do you ever wonder how your favorite products make their way into your local stores? Most arrive on state-of-the-art Matson vessels that transport containers of food, household items, equipment, and supplies into the islands every week. Because we know that you depend on us, we work closely with our partners to ensure that our shipments arrive on time, all the time, so you can find your favorite products when you need them. We transport the region's most precious cargo that supports successful businesses and promotes a better quality of life for our families. Matson is proud to have been the hometown shipping carrier for Guam, the CNMI, and Micronesia for the past 25 years, and you can count on us to be here for generations to come.
KUAM Sports is brought to you by Docomo Pacific. Better together.
Today, welcome to KUAM Sports. Now to check in with our partners at Clutch Guam.
Here's the final score.
Now to see what Mother Nature has in store for us and possibly some bogus info being passed around about activity in the region.
Jason checks in with our buddy Brandon Eidlet with the National Weather Service with the details.
All right, everybody, whether we all get through this as an island family, meaning we're going to be drenched in sweat or drenched in precipitation, determines on whether we know the weather. And very, very bad wordplay aside, and Brandon Eidlet is with the National Weather Service, and he knows this stuff, you know, better than anybody. Brandon, hop a day and welcome back to the show, man. Always appreciate your insight.
Half a day. It's good to be back. And so we like to know weather around here. And so we have seen some weather. We had a bit of a rainy Sunday, especially Sunday evening. We had a lot of heavy showers move through on Guam. And so it looks that's going to keep up for the next couple of days.
Okay. So is there anything we need to be worried about, though? Because I mean, I'm not going to act like I'm above everybody else. Anytime I see the wind gets a little bit strong these days, or when I get rain, I get a little bit triggered. I'm not going to lie.
Yes, and so I've been getting a couple messages. My brother Landon, he's been getting some messages. Do we have another typhoon coming? And so the answer is no. We have been seeing some messages come in. There has been some social media posts talking about a tropical storm or Typhoon 2W coming toward the Marianas. And so take cover. That is false. There is no tropical cyclone threatening us at the time. And in fact, the 2W has already passed. That was Typhoon Mawar. That was in the past. So the next storm would actually be 03W. And I think I had to look at my records. I think we already had an 03W farther west into the South China Sea. So we will not have another 2W. If you're seeing a social media post talking about a 2W coming toward the Marianas, that is false. That was Mawar. That is in the past, and it will not happen for 2023 ever again. And we'll take a look at the weather imagery. But first, the radar imagery. We're kind of quiet across Guam and the rest of the Marianas. Out here to the east of Guam, there are some heavy showers that are slow moving. Those are not going to be really moving anywhere. That's just starting to fall apart. And so as meteorologists will say, that's stratifying. It's becoming more of just a light to moderate rain. And so those clouds are going to gradually erode and dissipate. But we are watching some other showers move toward Rota over the next few hours, and a little bit of stuff near southern Guam, possibly affecting parts in Navy Base, PD, and Agate area within the next hour or two. But otherwise, we've been in this kind of a soupy pattern. And so looking at the satellite imagery, I've got Guam right here in the center. You can see that green. That is the airport observations flashing up. We've been getting some winds around 20 to 23 knots. So it's a pleasant breeze out there. But down farther to the southwest near Palau, we are watching this disturbance, some nice westerly winds pushing into there. So anybody that knows folks down in Palau, they're seeing some westerly winds. So that is part of the larger monsoon trough that kind of snakes across Philippines and then out into Western Micronesia toward Yap. And
Let
so
me ask
this
you
is
one
a
thing real
pattern.
quick, Brandon, because you use what I'm assuming are like industry terms, right, for scientists like yourself, and you said like we're getting soupy patterns. Now, when I think of that, because like I'm just a simple caveman, I'm thinking, are we talking about like soup in the sense of like chicken noodle soup, or it's very, very clear, and I would think that like it doesn't really pose any danger to us, or are we thinking something like maybe split pea soup or a jambalaya, where it's a whole bunch of stuff?
Well, that is a good question. That is a good question, and I am really hungry right now, and all those soupy patterns sound really good.
Oh, yeah.
But let me show you this. So I like to use the term soupy if we're just in a very deep moisture. We've got a lot of moisture. If you're outside, you're going to start sweating in a heartbeat. So I went for a jog in Tumon this morning, and it did not take long to break a sweat, and I was just soaked because it was just so humid. So we're in the soupy, very humid pattern, and so Rota is right underneath my finger. And so we're right underneath this gradient of very wet conditions, a lot of humidity. And so that is part of the reason why we have that flash flood watching effect for the Marianas the next couple of days, because we just got all this moisture coming right across Guam and Rota. And should we get that triggering mechanism for showers and thunderstorms, we're going to see some heavy showers because we just have that moisture available. But closer to Tinian and Saipan, it definitely dries out. So
maybe
it's much drier up there.
So maybe not something that would be major cause for concern, like say, using the soup analogy, maybe like a New England clam chowder. But we got a tolerable amount of minestrone going on right now.
That's right. So we got the minestrone soup going on. Hopefully, no big chunks.
There you go.
A traditional canoe with 11 students on board, led by 2 master navigators, is on the Saipan after starting its voyage from Palau on April 30th.
Regional correspondent Tomas Menglonia visits what they describe as a floating classroom.
Navigation in our region is the most important thing. That's how we survive in terms of typhoon that come and hits our island.
Grand Master Navigator Cesario Sewalur shares deep-rooted lessons with Saipan youth after arriving from their 2-month journey from Palau with Master Navigator Mario Benito and 11 traditional navigation students.
The main purpose of the canoe is my father asked for it for a floating classroom for Micronesian people.
The Hawaiian canoe made of fiberglass was a gift to Cesario's father, legendary Micronesian Master Navigator Mau Piailug, who revived traditional wayfinding. The floating classroom, which Cesario uses to teach at Palau's Community College, was built in the early 2000s. His brother, Master Navigator Antonio Piailug, carves canoes on Saipan and joined the community's welcome of the crew on Monday.
The canoe is, we call it Meisi. It's our culture. Yeah, if we know our culture, we have our identity. If we don't have our culture, we lost our identity.
At 20 years old, Cesario's son, Mos, is also the youngest student on the voyage, marking his first trip to Saipan.
In life, you just have to be patient on the canoe because, it's in the open water. So you have to be patient. If you don't see land, just be patient.
That patience was tested when it took 19 days to reach Yap from Palau. At times, they met calm water and still wind. For Jada Rabalaman, the trip to Saipan was 22 years in the making since she left at the age of 4.
It means a lot to me. My family is all here. I haven't seen them in a very long time, so it's good to reconnect, especially over something that has value to our culture.
The students braved the weather, took shifts to watch the boat, and fish for their food. They come from all walks of life.
Age doesn't really matter on the water. It's more so a willingness to help one another and communicate efficiently. It was fun, honestly. They kind of all blurred together, but we all worked different shifts. So it was good to see the different faces when they're awake and active and when they're resting.
They'll be making their way back to Palau in the next week. Tomas Manglonia, KUAM News, Saipan.
We'll be back in a moment.
This burger looked at one slice of melted cheese and said, more cheese. It looked at pickles and said, also onions. It wanted to be more than hot. It wanted to be juicy. This is the Quarter Pounder with cheese. If you thought one napkin for the Quarter Pounder with cheese was enough, it's not enough.
Guam's auto appearance specialist, Elegant Reflections, has been providing the automotive industry with professional detailing and car care products at its highest quality, from complete detailing, full interior detailing, exterior detailing, headlamp restoration, hand washing, seat and carpet shampoo, engine degreasing, undercarriage cleaning, paint sealant, fabric protection, paint oxidation removal, and so much more. Visit us at our new location. Call 646-5555 for an appointment. Elegant Reflections, Guam's auto appearance specialist, over 20 years of experience.
I'm checking my vital signs, got my battle lines going to war again. Feeling the rhythm inside of my chest, all I need is just a pen. I know I was born for this. I know I was born for this. I believe we can write our story. I believe we can be an army. We are the warriors who learn to love the pain. We come from different places, but have the same name. Cause we were born. broken ones who chose to spark a flame. Watch as our fire rages, our hearts are never tame. Cause we were born for this. We were born for this.
Now to your news bites.
Here's Jason Salas.
Hey there, hi there, ho there, you're as welcome as can be. People under the age of 40 have no idea what I'm talking about, but tell you what is very, very welcome, awesome events, and that's what we talk about right here on News Bites, presented by our friends. Of course, shout out to our friends at Docomo Pacific. Mark your calendars, everybody, because Friday the 14th, really, really good thing. Now look at that, Beyond Relief. That's some really good wordplay. That's also some really, really good graphic arts. It's a Malwar relief concert happening at the Guam Trifecta in the heart of Tumon. It features local artists, including the John Dank Show, Fat Tofu, Jonah Hanum, of whom I'm a huge fan, and some incredible DJs and much more. It benefits the Micronesia Climate Change Alliance and their relief efforts. Register at guamtime.net for tickets. UOG's baseball program, the guys who are playing amazing baseball around the diamond. I've seen a couple of their games. They are really, really good. They're hosting a fun night of live music and entertainment on Saturday. That's going to happen on July 15th at Bell's Bar, Mingilao. Perfect Pitch is just $10 and includes a drink and poo-poo. Speaking of good wordplay, the event is for those 21 years and over. Tickets can be purchased at the door or by contacting Rocky Alcantara, who happens to be the coach of Guam baseball. Very, very, very good baseball player himself. Make sure to contact Rocky for the hookup. And July 28th through the 30th is the 42nd annual Flame Tree Arts Festival. It happens at the Civic Center Beach Park. Opening ceremony is on July 28th at 5 in the afternoon. Meet artists, enjoy food and drinks, listen and dance to live entertainment and more. It is going to be a weekend of fun. Lots going on throughout the region, and Docomo Pacific allows us to bring it to you right here on News Bites. Nick and Destiny, what have you guys got?
Our Guam talent continues to shine bright.
Maybe not us.
Not us, but the Guam team continues to shine bright as the Skip Entertainment Company is bringing home another trophy to add to their display case as they represented the island big time.
Huge.
At the 2023 Prague Dance Festival in the Czech Republic, the team, which consists of 16 dancers ranging from 13 to 22 years old, came out victorious as the Junior Grand Prix champions.
Josiah Duenas and Aiden Arizala recognized as outstanding dancers with the Talent of Dance Award and receiving the Best Choreography, honored by Brian Esperon. KUAM congratulates Skip Director Terry Knapp and all dancers. Job well done. Time to see what you all submitted now on KUAM.com.
Here's your Cold Stone Creamery Birthday Club shoutouts.
Hey everybody, turning 8 is an awesome time in any child's life, and that is exactly the age that Lavea Faith is turning on this July the 10th. So happy birthday to Lavea, and your shout out says to our sassy, beautiful, courageous, and intelligent little girl, we wish you many blessings on this day from your very loving family. Speaking of awesome birthdays, happy 21st to Dylan Trusso. You are loved today, tomorrow, and always. Say mom, dad, Grandma Sablan, Uncle Steve, Justin, Ashley, and the kids. Happy 21st, Dylan. Daniel D. Espinoza, happy 65th birthday to a wonderful husband and father who's also a great teacher from Ocean View Middle School. Love, all right, nice. Love from your wife, Leylin, your human children, Nina, Desi, Danny, and Peter, and also from the fur kids, Katu, Tofu, and Nightmare. Happy 37th birthday to Stephen Crisostomo from all of his friends, and they say, party like it's the day after Lent. That's a great shout out, you guys. And a belated birthday wish going out to Elias St. Nicholas, who celebrates birthday number 10 this year. Love your dad, your brother Axel, and the entire family. Great day to have a birthday on this July 10th. And if yours is today, we wish each of you all of the best.
Happy birthday to all those celebrating out there. And that's your Primetime Show. I'm Nick Delgado.
And I'm Destiny Cruz. Stay beautiful, Guam.